Okay, so let's get started. So, welcome to this webinar from the SKC India chapter. Our speaker tonight is Anuj Kapoor. He's been in the IT industry for the last 15 years, out of which for the last 12 years he's dedicated to e-learning and instructional design. And he's currently working with IBM Gurgaon. Anuj comes with a wide range of experience and has worked on varied learning solutions like ILT, WBT, VLT, and micro learning. And the list is endless for him. In his free time, he likes to read and blog and also spend time with his 5-year-old son. Coming to our topic, a lot has been spoken about instructional design and technical writing. The two fields appear to be poles apart, but still they are as much close as any other profession. So this session will bring out the similarities and the differences between instructional design and technical writing. And Anuj here will highlight how the current trends have an impact on both the fields. So Anuj, over to you now.
And looking forward for a wonderful session. And thanks, Mac, for your message. I mean, it's an honor for me to present in this webinar. I think it's the first time I'm presenting it, so means looking forward for this session, for this wonderful session that I'm preparing for. Okay, so let's start. I mean, okay, first of all, can you see my screen? Abhishek, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So hello everyone. So I will be presenting today on a topic on instructional design versus technical writing. I mean, we all know. I mean, this topic, it has been for a while now. I mean, there has been a debate on who's the best. I mean, whether it's instructional design or technical writing. I mean, I know both the profession have its own similarities and have its own advantages and disadvantages. But I just thought that maybe it would be good if we could just highlight some of the similarities and considering the times that considering today's industry that we are in. So I just thought to uh, discuss about this topic basically. So just about this is just about myself. What Mr. Abhilasha just said. So I have around 15 years of experience in the IT industry, with 12 years of experience in instructional design, and currently I am working in IBM Gurgaon as senior instructional designer. Well, I am a blogger and also you can find me on social media, whether it's Facebook or Twitter. And, these days, thanks to smartphone, we have everything on our smartphone on mobile device. So we have that facility to be online 24/7. So this is about that. Also, I have my own website. So in case you want to know more about me or you want to read about my blogs, you can go to this website, which is iamanujkapoor.com. So before we start, Abhilasha, this is just a small exercise I had planned to do it. So how do you want to take it forward? What I want you to do is to set the expectation for this session, so that I would know what exactly you are. Probably your expectation are. So, Abhilasha, can we open the lines, or can they? Enter it over chat or something.
Yes, Anuj, everyone can respond to the chat messages.
Okay. Yeah. So feel free to drop your thoughts on what your expectation are from this session, or what you think, I mean, your perspective of what your key takeaways you have thought would be. So just feel free. I mean, just for 5 minutes, you can means, maybe 2 to 3 minutes. You can take your time to respond. Okay. So Nibu says, "What can each type of role learn from other?" Good. That's good, Nibu. Thank you. Okay. So Shanu Shivakumar says that, "What are the touch point similarity and differentiation between the ID and technical writing?" Okay. And Nibu again says, "What are the differences?" Okay. Yeah. Hi. Thanks, Harish. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I will try to bring about those differences as well. Okay. Any other? Okay. So, not wasting enough time, let's move forward. So, this is what I thought to bring about what I will be covering today. First of all, I would be covering some myths about technical writing and ID. I mean, what I feel is there in the people's mind about technical writing and instructional design. Then I will also cover a definition about technical writing and ID. Industry definition of technical writing and instructional design. uh, Also, I will try to bring upon some major comparison between the two professions. And last, I will try to also briefly provide you look at what is the future for technical writing and ID. Means going forward, what it is stored for technical writing and instructional designers. Okay. So, looking forward to this slide. What, yeah, as you can see, it's the myths about technical writing. As you all know, it's generally said that technical writing spend most of the time in writing only. So no, but this is not true. We all know you as writers do not just spend entire time in writing, right? So you are doing more than that. In fact, you writing is just 20% job that is done. So you are following 80-20 rule. You are doing 80% planning and 20% writing. So this is not the case. Second is it is often said that means often in industry it is said that it is an easy job. Even any developer can who can write a mail can also write a document. And the next one is that as a technical writer, you need not be creative. But this is not true. Moving on to the next slide about myths of about instructional designer. An instructional designer, that doesn't need to understand technology. That is the myth that is there. That is more common myth that goes around the corner in the industry, that instructional designer doesn't need to understand technology, but that is not true. As as for any case, instruction designer obviously should have some know-how of the technology, because that's why that that is why they need to because until unless they will not understand the technical knowledge or technical things, they won't be able to write properly about the user. Of course, they are subject matter experts to guide them, uh, but if they have some bit of technical knowledge, it will be an added advantage for them. And who knows, I mean, I have seen many instructional designers who have now become technical experts as well. So yes, that is this statement which says that instructional designer doesn't need to understand technology is again incorrect. Again, another means myth about instructional designer is that they doesn't need to use any graphic design tools, and yes, that is also incorrect. I mean, uh, yes, I mean, often it is said that it means we IDs work in a team. So it means often it happens that there's a team of visual designers and who do the job, who work on graphic design and who work on graphics, but they should have some knowledge. I mean, as IDs, we need to have some knowledge of visual design concepts, so that we are able to visualize and tell the graphic designers on the graphic, because it is we who will be uh, giving the blueprint of the graphics to the visual designers. So again, this is incorrect to say that we IDs do not use any graphic design tools. So question: can a technical writer become an instructional designer, or instructional designer become a technical writer? Well, yes, they can. But before we move forward, let's see what exactly is the definition of technical writing and instructional design is. According to Wikipedia, I mean, technical writing is any written form of writing or drafting technical indication that is used in a means variety of technical occupation fields, such as computer hardware or computer hardware, or any it could be any computer software that. So I mean, technical writing is that it's a process basically. I mean, traditionally speaking, it was a practice of where the writers documented the processes to develop certain manuals, I mean, whether it was user manual or product manual or any kind of API guide or some sort, basically. So this is a basic definition of technical writing. So, but what does a technical writer actually do, or I would say, what are the tasks of a technical writer? I mean, this goes without saying. I know that I mean, we have a lot of expert technical writers over here, so I don't need to explain this. But I just want to list out certain tasks. Means that a technical writer need to perform. As a technical writer, I mean, first and foremost task is that they write manuals or documentation to support the hardware or software. That includes user operation or maintenance manuals as well. They write standard operating procedures. They write API guides, as I said previously, and they also means engage with the developers, means to document the key information about system and products. Moving forward, let's take a look at the definition of instructional design. Instructional design, as you all know, it's a science basically. It's a science to where we where which involves uh, um, using various theories, learning theories that to develop an instruction material or training material, basically. So basically, instructional design involves involving a lot of developing learning material, basically catering to the learning needs and goals. I will come to the difference between the learning in the other slides. But first, just let me define instructional design, which is actually a science that involves there are several theories which we use as instructional designers to develop learning material. Means to means so to meet the goals of the learner, basically. So now, what are the tasks of an instructional designer? First of all, it means the first and foremost task is to determine the learning goals. Other most important task is to identify the gaps, knowledge gaps in the learning based on those learning goals. Then, once the learning goals are identified and knowledge gaps are identified, we then list the objectives of the training, what those are, and then we design the course, that map with the objectives of the training, using various instructional strategies and learning theories. Whichever format, whichever format we use in the learning, whether it is an ILT or whether it is a web-based learning or whether it is a whether it is a micro learning. It's an idea. It is our task to design the entire learning program, and at the end, we also develop assessments to measure the performance of the learners, basically. Okay, so this was just a basics about technical writing in ID. So I would like to pause over here to see to check if anyone have any doubts or any queries or anything of that sort. Hello, am I audible? Yeah. So Shanu says you told ID is a science. No, Diljit, you are right. Technical communication is vast, but no, the ID is also not small. Uh, yeah, you are right. Sorry, I misunderstood your question. Yeah, you are right. That is another myth. So you can have that as well. Means ID that goes around between ID and technical communication. That technical writing is vast, but ID is small. No, but that's not the case. Both ID and technical writing are at the same level. So technical writing means and ID are two niche profession, basically, in the industry, and the way the industry is moving today means I feel these two niche profession has their own what do you call their own standpoint. We ID or technical writers have our own standpoint in today's industry. I will come to this particular point in the coming slides. Yeah, Shanu, yeah, I got your point. You said that technical ID is a science, but I don't know if it's an art or science. But yes, technical writing is another niche profession. That's you can call it a process or you can call it art. And anything you call it. Yes. Okay, so now let's look at the differences or comparisons, I would say, between ID and technical writers. But first, the big difference. So the big difference that compares between ID and technical writing is the user versus learner. You must have seen a lot about it. You must have heard about it. There's a big fight going on with where where there's a user and there's a learner. So what's the difference? What's the big deal about it? So user is someone who is using a product. So does that mean that okay, let me first define that. User is someone who is using that product, and learner is someone who learns about that, who learns or gains information about that product. So does that mean that user is not a learner? No, that's not the case. Yeah, a user can also be a learner, or a learner can also be a user. So both terms are interchangeable, but it's just that they are certain differences in the terms where we say that a product, for example, if means you take an example of a simple simple phone. Basically, iPhone is a product, so you are using that product, so you are a user. And when I go to the Apple's website, and if I want to learn about some new features, I become a learner. So that's a basic difference between a user and a learner, where a user is using that product and a learner is learning about new features about, or what do you say, learning about the how to use that product basically. So anything, any information that is being provided to the learner that would help him to use that product is called a learner basically. Second difference is about the deliverables that both technical writers and instructional designer produce. They are list of documents that as a technical that any technical writer would produce, like user manual, release notes, online help, product demos, and the list is endless. They are endless number of documents that are produced in technical writing for any product basically. Whereas an instruction designer also means they are number of deliverables, like they are student guides, they are instructor guides, they are again, they are videos, and then they are WBT and then they are and then there are a host of other deliverables that come. There may be some PPT materials as well. Simulations are there. Then there are a host of other deliverables. That goes on for instructional design as well. Next is the tools that are used by technical writers or instructional designers. The tools that technical writers use are MS Word. These are some of the tools that I generally used, like like Adobe FrameMaker is one. Then Adobe Robo Help is also there. Author IT is there, and then Epic Editor, Matcap Flare, and there are endless number of free tools that are available that are used by the technical writers. Same for instructional designer. We have MS Office package, MS Office suite, which includes MS Word, MS PowerPoint, Adobe Captivate, Articulate Storyline, Lectora, Camtasia, and host of other tools that are available for instructional designers. Processes that ID and technical writers follow. Technical writing usually follows a document development life cycle, whereas an instructional designers usually follows the ADDIE model. So though it's just a name, but means both of them have their own similarities in a way. They both are processes that are used by technical writers and IDs to develop their own deliverables. But the main motive, or you can say the crux, is the same, and also means the main objective is the same basically, of each of the process. They may differ in stages. Like in ADDIE we have analysis, design, development, implement, and evaluation, where we analyze and then we design and we start developing it. We develop a storyboard and then we implement and evaluate. The same goes for DDLC as well, where we first analyze the audience and document. We don't really as any technical writer won't just start developing the user manual. So they will first develop a TOC and create a design document, and then probably after they have created a TOC, they will work on the documentation and work with the SMEs in between to come up with the documentation. And then they also so there is a similarity between technical writing and ID. So all said and done, these were the comparisons, but where is the convergence? Where is the similarity? You must be thinking. These were all the comparisons that I had dealt, but where is the convergence? So first is that technical writers do not just create manuals; they also create. These days they are also creating videos. They are creating more than videos. They are doing more than that, in fact. So this is where the similarity is. That because similarity between ID and technical writing is that they also create videos. They create product. They are creating product demos. So in a way, they are also working on Camtasia. So they are also following the similar pattern. Again, second similarity that I discussed earlier. Both of them collaborate with the SMEs to get the required information. SMEs are the most important part of any project for whether it's a technical writer or instructional designer. So means to gather the requirements because they are the technical experts, right? So they need inputs from this me's. I mean for in case of documentation, when you are as a technical writer, when you are writing a document, it's this means who will you need to be dependent on to provide information. Yes, agreed. There may be times when SMEs may not be available, but at least they are the experts, so they need to they are available to you to guide you in your entire process to develop the documentation. And same goes for instructional designers as well. I mean, agree that instructional designers need need some knowledge of technology, but the SMEs are the ones who will be guiding, because at the end of the day, IDs can only help in designing the learning solution to for the learners. But the technical expertise will only come with from the subject matter experts. Again, the third point, both the technical writers and IDs understand the needs of the audience and their work environment. They need to do a thorough need analysis. Both of them need to do a need analysis, a task analysis to come up with the tasks that the user need to perform or the learner need to perform, and the needs analysis of to why the documentation is required or why that learning is need to be required at at some point of time. Last but not the least, they both come up with ways to eliminate the information to the user or the learner that can be easily understood and is well structured. I would say that you gather the inputs from the SMEs, but the way the information of the user, and this is where your expertise comes in. It is your duty as to translate that information into an easily understood language that can be understood by the user or the learner, basically. So the bottom line is, yes, yeah, as you can see from the picture, there is no tug of war between instructional design and technical writings. There's a huge overlap between instructional designer and technical writer job profiles. I means they focuses on the specific area and expertise, and both the professions complement each other. Okay, so over here I would like to take another pause and check if anyone have any queries up till now. Okay, so yeah, Rishita, you mentioned please elaborate about the fields ID. Can you be a bit elaborate as to what exactly you are referring to? Okay, Praveen asked what is more close to teaching profession, technical writing or ID? See, I mean, it is nothing like that. I mean, which is more close to teaching profession. Yes, agreed. As I mean, if you have a teaching background, then I have seen many people who have been teachers. They have moved on to become instructional designers. But I haven't seen anyone who have been a teacher and have become a technical writer. But it is not an hard and fast rule that you can't become a technical writer. The basic skills and over here, I would like the experts over here. Nibu or Mac. I think they are the gurus. They would rather talk about this. So I would say over here that the basic qualification for any technical writer or ID is to write well. Good English basically. So whichever profession you are into, if you have uh, if you have that basic level of qualification to write well, and to understand the user or the learner, then I think have uh, you can move into you can move into technical writing or an ID instructional design profession. Okay, as in IT education. No, no, Rajata, you don't need to have any domain specific knowledge as such in ID. I don't know if technical writing do have this requirement, but in ID is nothing of that sort. But yes, again, as I said earlier, if you have that, then nothing like it. It is always an added advantage if you have some industry knowledge of a particular domain. If you have some financial background or telecom industry background, then it is always a plus advantage. But that is not a mandatory requirement. Again, as I said earlier, to Praveen, that the basic qualification for any technical writer or instructional designer is to write well, and of course you should know some basic tools like MS Word, Office, etc. Those tools are important, right? Which tools, Praveen? Can you be specific? Yeah, yes, those tools are important. They are not mandatory, but if you have it, it is a plus advantage. Okay, so not wasting much enough time, let's move forward. So, I mean, the road ahead, is difficult for both technical writers and ID. I mean, today, with this statement, I don't want you to get disheartened, because, but this is the fact today. The road ahead life is little challenging for technical writers, because today we have today the users have gone so advanced. They have all of them are mobile. You name it. Even a child can operate a smartphone or an iPad, and most of the companies are moving to automation. They are robots who are doing the task. They are so some tasks that have been automated, and then there's an it's coming of social media. People have gone. There's no one who is not on social media. 9 out of 10 people are on social media. And then there is wiki, that is a vast pool of knowledge. So there are, so with so many things going around, the road ahead, yes, is difficult for both technical writing and ID. But having said that, the future is bright. The future is really bright. Traditionally, I would say that the roles have reversed. Basically, the roles have changed now. Traditionally, the as might have been called as technical writers, we are now most called as information developer. That is that is the designation given to technical writer in IBM, because they are developing the information. They are not just writing the document. So it's just not the document that they develop. It is the it could be they could be interacting with the customers directly over the blogs. And it could be they could be having some developing some product demos, or sharing some knowledge over the seminar or webinar. So same goes for instruction designer as well. Traditionally they were called as instruction designers, but now they are most called as learning experience designer, because uh, if we considering the coming age of field, which is UXT, that is user experience design. This is more used phenomenon and more used definition of section design, which is called learning experience design, because we are not just designing the learning material, we are designing the experience, the learning experience of the learner. So that is what the future is for both technical writer and instructional design. Okay, so that was the last slide. So yeah, Abhilasha, I'm done. I'm open to any other further queries. Okay, so Rujata says, how is the career path for ID? Can you please inform us more about this? Okay, so yeah, I forgot to have this slide. Yes, that is a good point, Rujata. So uh, uh, a career path for ID, similar to technical writer, it starts with a trainee instruction designer, then goes on to become an instructional designer, and then sorry, Rujuta, sorry, I'm so sorry for pronouncing your wrong name. Yeah, so what I was saying, that a career path of ID is that any instructional designer, means with a 0 to 2 years of experience, when they start, they come in as a trainee instructional designer, and then they become instructional designer, and then they gradually move on to senior instructional designer, and then probably they take up the role of lead instructional designer, and then they can further move into maybe learning instructional design manager or learning manager, you call it. And then probably it means there are certain divisions. Maybe you can move into PM. Means you can move into project management level, or you can stick to instructional design only. Stick to being a instructional design manager only. I mean, it may happen that the designation might differ. So, from company to company. So there may be, lead ID, and then there may be a manager in instructional design, and there may be a director of learning as well. And then the growth path is uh, as and when you take step by step ladder, into that direction. So hope I had answered your query, Ruchita. Yes, there is a scope for freelancing. So, there are a lot of freelancing requirements that comes in instructional design. In fact, in STC also, there are certain job posts that keep on coming on for freelancing opportunities. So, and in Naukri.com also you can try it out. So there are few freelancing website as well. I think Mac is also doing a good job in instruction design. By providing a training on instruction design as well. So, and in fact, he has also done a webinar on freelancing as well. So, you can probably means you can. And there must be some replay of that, so you can go through. Okay, Rohini Patil says, I'm currently working as a content writer and a company has an ID team. I'm thinking of shifting to ID. Can you tell me what skills are required to be an ID? Okay, so first and foremost, as an ID, it is advisable that you take up a course in instructional design and learn some basic skills of an ID. Learn some ID models like as I discussed ID. These are some basic level things that you can go through. These days there are a lot of online material available. We can take it offline. Means you can email me, or you can ping. You can email me and I can respond to you. On what exactly are you looking at. And there is one message from anonymous, a message which says, "Can textbook writing or computer books be part of technical writing?" Yes, it can be. Why not? Textbook writing also could be about. Again, as I said, there is a overlap between technical writing and instructional designing. It's just not that an IT cannot write a user manual, or a technical writer cannot write. A technical writer cannot write training materials. So I guess this was your question. Okay, Shri Devi says, does an experience as a technical writer carry value into instructional design field, or is the candidate considered as a fresher? As if you are, if
Hi, Anuj. Can you hear us? I think he got dropped from the webinar.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, yes, you're back.
Yeah, sorry, I got dropped off. There was some network issue over here at my end. So, Abhilasha, I think I'm done. There's one question that she really had asked, so I will just answer that. So, if she was mentioned, does an experience as a technical writer carry value into instructional design, or is the candidate considered as a fresher? Yes, Sridevi, you can very well come in into instructional design field. But yes, it will be good if you can go through some instructional design courses, so that would be really helpful for you to understand the instructional design processes and life cycle and how it follows. So and it all depends upon how you can convince the interviewer on whether you can do the job. Of course, to start with, you may not be able to get a job as lead ID, or maybe you can get a job as senior instructional designer. But yes, again, as I said, it is always advantageous to I would suggest you to go through some courses, so that would give a feel of how instructional design is and what is the process. Yeah. Okay. Sure, Rasha. I think I'm done.
Okay, yeah. So if we have more questions, we can write to Anuj directly. I'll share his email ID in the feedback form or when I share the slide with you. So thanks, Anuj, for bringing in this topic and giving us a detailed session talking about both the fields. I'll also
Sure,
thank
Rasha.
TechnoRights for sponsoring our webinar platform. Thank you, Matt. And thank you, STC India and Admin Council here. Thank you, audience, for joining us today. Just a reminder about the STC India talk show that we had last time. We are still looking for a nice, catchy name. So please continue sending more entries. We'll probably have another talk show soon. For now, this is all we had in the today's session. So thank you everyone and good night.